We have some breaking news from the NHL. Alex Galchenyuk is being terminated by the Coyotes. What's going on with the situation? He only signed 12 days ago. Plus, we have some signings in Montreal, Dallas, and the New York Rangers. And some teams have announced more additional changes to their coaching staffs. We'll get into all the latest news coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some interesting news out of Arizona. We'll get to that here in just a moment. First, a few quick signings. The Montreal Canadiens have come to terms with some of their younger restricted free agents. They've signed both Nick Beaudin and Lucas Condotta. Both get two-way deals. Beaudin gets 1 year. Condotta gets 2 years. Both make a league minimum $775 at the NHL level. I know Beaudin was a prospect with the Blackhawks for a while. Came over to Montreal. Bit of a crowded blue line. There's a lot of young defensemen between ones that are expected to be in Montreal, ones that are expected to be in the AHL. So we'll see if he can get his career on track here and hopefully make some good progress this year. The Dallas Stars have re-signed one of their key restricted free agents as well, former first-round pick Ty Dellandrea. He gets a 1-year contract at $900,000, so that's certainly a value deal for them. And the Rangers have also signed a younger player as well, Ty Emberson. He gets a 1-year, two-way deal. He will also earn $775,000 at the NHL level when he plays, or if he plays NHL games. Of course, with the two-way deals, teams are able to pay players a smaller salary at the AHL level, which is why they structure the contracts that way. Some coaching announcements today. The Toronto Maple Leafs organizations have added a couple of assistant coaches for their farm team, the Toronto Marlies. Michael Dick, who was formerly the head coach for the Western Hockey League's Vancouver Giants, will join them as an assistant coach. And Eric Wellwood, who's 33 years old, is a younger coach. He was formerly the head coach of the East Coast Hockey League's Newfoundland Growlers, which I believe is also the lower-level affiliate for the Leafs. So certainly familiar with the organization. He will move up from the East Coast League to the American Hockey League, obviously taking a step down from head coach to be an assistant coach. But for both these guys, that's still a promotional opportunity to jump up to a higher level pro league. So good on them for making the advancements here. And the Vegas Golden Knights today have announced formally, actually this came late last night after I recorded the other video, but they've made some changes to their coaching staff, adding a couple of experienced people as well. They've added former player Joel Ward. Of course, he had a fairly successful career. Played for the variety of different teams, including Washington, who's a Capital for a long time. Obviously played in university hockey in Canada as well, which is not something you see a lot of players make it to the pros afterwards. And he's been with the Golden Knights American affiliate in Henderson as well for the last while. So he's already been in the organization coaching, so he gets promoted to the NHL club. And former Montreal Canadiens bench boss Dominic Ducharme also joins Vegas as an assistant coach. Of course, Ducharme didn't have a lot of success in Montreal. I mean, he did, in a sense, the year they went in the bubble to the final. Of course, he had taken over that season and had a lot of success through the remainder part of the regular season and to the playoffs, obviously. But the next year, things fell apart. Obviously, their run, I think it's fair to say, in the deep playoff run they had a lot to do with the play of some of their veteran players like Price and Weber, etc. And suddenly those guys weren't there anymore. And I made such a huge difference. Like the Canadiens team from one year to the next, completely different team. I know Ducharme took a lot of criticism for how he handled Cole Caulfield. Caulfield really struggled under Ducharme. And then after Marty St. Louis took over, he really took off. So not to say that Ducharme's a bad coach, because I don't think he is. I think not every player and every coach is going to mesh perfectly either. He had a ton of success when he coached in junior in Halifax. So I do think he should be good with young players based on that previous experience, but we'll see how things go for him in Vegas. Hard to say if and when he'll get another NHL head coaching opportunity, but it is what it is. At least he's back in the NHL behind the bench in one capacity or another. TSN reporter Rick Westhead offered another update on Twitter today on the ongoing Hockey Canada 2018 World Junior team investigation that's been going on for, feels like forever now, and basically been about a year. I know there were some updates in the last couple of days saying that teams were kind of bracing themselves for the report to come out and for possible player suspensions to come from it. I believe that was Frank Saravalli talking about that on his Daily Face-Off show. And Rick Westhead is saying that essentially teams are kind of confirming the same sort of thing, but he's saying that there could be and we don't know until this comes out. He's not speculating with names or anything, but he says there could be as many as 8 players possibly face some sort of discipline or suspension. So we'll have to see what comes from this. There's no exact timeline when this final report's going to come out or when we're going to get something out of the NHL. Like I said, the last time Gary Bettman talked about it was around the time of the Stanley Cup final, and I believe he said something like mid to late July is what they were kind of looking like, but he also wouldn't put a specific timeline on it. But I mean, if there's as many as 8 players implicated that are facing suspension, I mean, that's close. That's not fully, but that's not far off from half the team. That's a lot of players. So a lot of teams could be really impacted here. For everybody's sake, I hope they get this information released sooner than later so that teams know, players know, and, obviously, we'll see what happens from there. I don't know from a legal standpoint if there's going to be anything further or not. There was reports from the London police, I believe in some of the court documents that indicated they thought that they'd be able to bring charges to as many. I think it was 5 players, what they were mentioned, maybe more. But is that going to happen? We don't know. And Rick Wester also reports that basically if the NHL releases the findings of the investigation and offers suspensions to some of these players, because we don't even know what we're looking at. Are they going to, I know a lot of people are saying they should be banned for life, and I don't know if they're going to go with anything like that. I have no clue what kind of severity these players are facing. But regardless of what it is or it isn't, he suspects that the NHL Players Association is going to fight on their behalf, considering that up to this point at least, they haven't been found guilty in the court of law. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we should hopefully get some more clarity. And Rick Rust has certainly been the primary source of all the most accurate information on this whole story. So we'll have to wait and see if he has anything more that he's learned, or when the NHL actually comes to announce its findings. As I mentioned, the most interesting news for today, at least, is the Arizona Coyotes have announced, and I'll show you the Twitter post, that Alex Galchenyuk, who they just signed as an unrestricted free agent 12 days ago, is being placed on unconditional waivers for the purpose of contract termination. And in their statement, they're saying that they will have no further comment on the situation. So it's not a mutual thing, obviously. Now, we see cases like this that does happen, generally not so close to the signing of the contract, but sometimes players, if they feel like they're not going to get enough opportunity, and if they were able to find another contract in another league that either is going to pay them more money, or they feel they can play better to enhance their career, sometimes they'll talk to the team and they'll mutually agree just to terminate the deal, and they'll move on to the other thing that they found. But that's not what's happened here. We don't know for sure that he hasn't found something else, but it sure doesn't sound like it. I would think that if it was a mutual termination, that the Coyotes would have put out a statement instead of saying that they're not going to talk about it any further. Now, I believe it was ESPN. I think it was Greg Wyshynski or one of the reporters for ESPN that posted on Twitter that they've heard that, which makes sense, and to what extent we'll learn of this, it's difficult to say, that there's some sort of off-ice situation that the team did not know about when they signed him, that they learned about now, that's affecting their decision that they don't want to have him on the team. What that off-ice situation is, no clue, no idea. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. The NHL Players Association apparently is also looking into this as well. Other players aren't being suspended or terminated or anything wrongfully. So we'll see if we learn anything more on this situation, but certainly odd. I'm not sure what can happen in 12 days that would change a team's mind to rescind a contract like that. So obviously Alex Galchenyuk's career, really ever since he's left Montreal, has been quite a journey. He's bounced around to a lot of teams, a lot of inconsistent play. It's kind of surprising, to be completely honest, that he's still even in the league, regardless of what off-ice stuff might be causing this situation. Based on his on-ice play alone, it's amazing that he's been able to stick around this long, considering how many teams he's been to and shuffled off after short periods of time with very low levels of success. But we'll see if we learn any more on this situation or not. But let me know your thoughts on all today's news in the comments. We'll talk further. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.